My Hero Academia Season 7, Episode 8, titled Two Flash Fires. Here the Todoroki brothers go head to head. Dabi's backstory is an extremely sad one. He looked up to his dad and wanted to be a hero just like him, but Endeavor stopped their training when a doctor told him the more Toya trains, the more Toya will be burnt by his own flames. From then on, Endeavor saw Toya as a failure, stopped training him, and stopped acknowledging him. But Toya was obsessed with getting the approval of his father, so he continued training on his own, burning himself and pushing through the pain. He'd tell his dad to meet him at Saketo Peak mountainside to see how far he'd gotten by training himself. But Endeavor would never show up, and Toya eventually set itself on fire, as well as the forest. He fell into a nearby river, and his body was completely charred. But without being able to follow in his father's footsteps and become a hero just like him, he didn't see the point in living anymore and accepted death. Dr. Garaki saved him and spent 3 years rebuilding his body, all while Toya was in a coma. When he finally woke up, he was in a facility where kids were taken in to be raised and indoctrinated with all for one's views and beliefs, and also to be potential new vessels for him if things with Shigaraki went awry. But Toya wasn't interested in taking parts in any of that. He was still very much obsessed with making his father proud, so he burnt the facility down, more than likely killing everybody in it, and went back to his home, only to see nothing changed. His dad was still abusive, which is crazy in itself. The number 2 superhero is abusive to his wife and kids? Toya saw his dad harshly training his younger brother Shoto, who he was jealous of, and it was clear his family had moved on and completely forgotten about him. He didn't say anything to them, he just left. And that day the kid Toya died and the villain Dabi was born. He trained hard. He memorized his dad's moves by watching him save people in the public eye. He eventually went back to the League of Villains. He still never believed in their mission or their views. He simply used them just how they used him. He wanted to show the world how abusive and terrible of a person his dad was. He wanted Endeavor to acknowledge his strength, but he also wanted to kill Endeavor and his little brother. And lastly, he wanted to die a glorious death. Yeah, Dabi's story is a very tragic one. Now, face to face with his younger brother Shoto, he was pulling out the big flames and beating Shoto up, all while complaining to Shoto about how he had everything. The perfect combination of quirks, the perfect environment to hone his skills at, which was UA, their dad's acknowledgement, and he still was a failure. This whole time, Shoto didn't attack Dabi once. He just continued charging his cold flames up. This new move Shoto learned, he didn't copy it from watching Endeavor, how Dabi did. Shoto created this move himself, and he created it specifically to deal with Dabi. The biggest downside to this new move, Phosphor, was it was very hard to maintain, and it went away quickly. Endeavor's sidekicks didn't really do much against Dabi, but they did play a very key part in this fight. By defending Shoto and taking Dabi's attack full on, they gave Shoto the time he needed to start Phosphor back up again. And when he finally hit Dabi with it, it neutralized all of Dabi's flames. And with this one attack, he defeated his older brother. This should also put an end to the argument of which of the two are stronger, because Dabi was fighting to kill Shoto, while Shoto was holding back, just trying to stop Dabi without hurting him, which he did. I have to say, I do blame Endeavor for Toya going off the deep end. If Endeavor wasn't so miserable that he couldn't defeat All Might, that he married an ice user in hopes that their quirks perfectly combined so their kids could grow up to beat All Might for him. If he didn't look at his kids as little tools to bring his dreams to life, Dabi would have never been created. But I do feel what Shoto said too. At the end of the day, Dabi still made his own decision to become a villain. He still could have chose justice over the life of crime. Overall, I just feel sorry for Dabi, but I am glad Shoto won. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.